So, this is a short piece about trade fairs, and it comes hand in hand with our work on Step0 and acquisition campaigns, because the trade fair is a specific animal which exists, which needs to be treated effectively. There are some problems associated with trade fairs for sales organisations. Very often trade fairs are perceived to be places where you invite existing customers and they come to your stand and you give them a glass of wine and stuff and some food and stuff, and you maybe take them aside into a different office and run negotiations with them. And that's one usage of a trade fair. Another usage of a trade fair is from the marketing perspective, to give this great image of an organisation, so that the organisation is perceived to be at a particular place within the market. Yeah? Your organisation, for example, is going to be the host of a trade fair, and everybody who goes to that trade fair will know that it's hosted by you, because you're the biggest, you're the best, and everybody will leave that trade fair knowing that. Yeah? They'll also know that you're the most expensive and very difficult to work with, etc. But they'll know that when it comes down to it, it's always safe to make a decision in your direction because you are dependable, you are the biggest, the best, etc. And you've got the great materials to go with it. Yeah? Which is very important. It is important. But then there's the sales aspect of the trade fair. And that's what I'd like to speak about a little bit, because a trade fair is an excellent opportunity for sales. Yeah? When you're a person who visits a trade fair, when you are a mortal visitor, yeah? You've been to trade fairs, right? When you go into the trade fair, you automatically start thinking to yourself, you start looking around the stands and stuff, and then at some stage you say to yourself, oh, I have to speak to somebody. Yeah? Everybody who visits a trade fair has this kind of internal voice saying to them, if you don't speak to somebody, you have failed. Yeah? If you do not speak to somebody, failure. You have failed in your job as a visitor at a trade fair. Yeah? So everybody at the trade fair feels this need to speak to somebody, whether they're interested in something or not. This is good because it means, as a salesperson, you can simply beckon people to come over to you, and they will, like sheep. You're standing there in the middle, you see somebody, you catch eye contact, you say, and they come. It's great. It's like as if by magic, or you just step out to meet them, and they kind of stop, and they say, oh good, now I'm going to fulfill my destiny and speak to the person at the trade fair. Yes. What? Yeah? This is very, very, very funny. So, that's good. One of the problems, though, is that the people working on the stand at the trade fair, yeah, they don't want to speak to anybody. This is one of the main dilemmas of sales at trade fairs. The guys working at the stand, they're all kind of sitting there, they've got a cup of coffee, and they're standing behind flip charts and something, looking at all of the people going past. You go and speak to them. I'm not going to go and speak to them. I spoke to the last one. Well, somebody's got to speak to somebody. Why? Let's just stay here and chill. It's nice. Let them come to us. Yeah, but nobody is coming to us. Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, nobody told us what to do. Yeah? So, still today, 2013, by the way, if you're watching this in 50 years' time, still today, one of the big problems is that the people working on the stands do not want to go and speak to the people all over the place. Yeah? Because people don't like doing this. There is a certain type of personality that gets a kick out of going up to strangers and speaking to them. Yeah? Most people don't really enjoy the process of doing it. And even the people who do enjoy it, they get tired of it quite quickly. Yeah? So there's a few things that need to be thought of, which we can think of in advance of running a trade fair. Yeah? The first thing is the reference story template. I'm going to move out of the line of the camera at the moment because my camera person has fallen asleep. But this is critical, yeah? You need some clear reference stories for your salespeople so that when they go up and speak to somebody, they've got something to say, yeah? They've got some messages to send. Because one of the clear things that we're going to ask is, you know, who are you? Where do you work? What is your function? And if they say, well, I'm in marketing, you can say, oh, great, I've got a story for marketing. Yeah? And they say, okay, it's going to take 1 minute, is that okay? And they say, of course that's okay, because I'm at a trade fair. And my job, my destiny in life, is to listen to you telling me your story. And you're going to tell them your story, they're going to give you their card, and then you're going to write something on the back of that card which makes you remember something about that person. Yeah? And then you're going to put it into your follow-up system. Okay? So what's absolutely critical, the purpose of a trade fair is these things. Business cards. Yeah? The purpose of the trade fair is getting these things and then writing something on the back of them and then following up. Yeah? Luckily, you have a brilliant sales manager who has a brain. Yeah? A big brain, which means it's going to be well prepared for you. Yeah? There's going to be somebody there, some system of collecting the business cards. There's going to be somebody there to remind you to write something on the back of it. We spoke about this. Yes, they seemed kind of interested. This was the function. Maybe we could send this. I agreed to do this, agreed to do this. So there'll be a system there that's going to support you with that, so that when you bring that business card back, there'll be somebody there saying, okay, I've got it, you can go again. Yeah? And then you can forget about this, you don't have to deal with it anymore, you can go back out here and go to your next victim. Yeah? But don't worry, they are happy victims, because their job and their destiny in life is to be spoken to by you. Okay? So that's one thing, that's what we're going to do. That's the purpose of the reference stories. And one of the reasons why this is so critical, yeah? In the UK at the moment, and in America, the cold calling, pure cold calling, is becoming illegal. Right? Illegal. It is illegal to call people that you don't know. Can you believe that? Yeah? It's actually, they're going to put it into the law. And this law is going to sweep across the world. Cold calling will no longer be possible. You're not actually, yeah. But we're still going to have to do it because the pipeline doesn't die just because some bloody government says, no, you're not allowed to do that anymore. We're all really sensitive. We don't want to pick up the phone to salespeople. Yeah? The pipeline remains. We still have to do our job. We've still got to get opportunities into the pipeline. So the trade fair is going to grow. And the real usage behind the trade fair, and there will be other things that are coming up to take the place of the trade fair, this whole system is going to become more and more important because this will be first contact. And this will be first face-to-face contact. As soon as you've got that card, and you say to the words, do you mind if I follow up with you? They're going to say, no, that's okay. And then you're allowed to call them. Yeah? That's the future. Not very nice, and we're okay for a couple of years yet here, but in some environments it's already getting very tough. So those environments are putting a lot of focus into trade fairs and making sure that their people actually do what they're meant to do at a trade fair, which is sell and not just drink coffee. Hey, I love coffee. I'm a big believer in coffee. Drink lots of it. Drink it everywhere. But trade fairs are for the purpose of acquisition. No more, no less. That's what they're there for. And the companies that use them effectively will win. And the companies that just hang around doing bugger all will do not much. Yeah? So, that's one thing regarding the trade fair. What's very important is that you have a couple of people who are always on the stand. Yeah? These people, in my book, should be, you know, relatively senior and relatively experienced. My ideal person for a trade fair stand like this is the gentleman or lady from the company who really has a very good overall knowledge of the organization. Yeah? They know all of the customers, they know the products, they know the systems and processes, and obviously they are communicative type people. But they're not sales reps, and they don't have sales rep responsibility. They have ambassador responsibility. They are there at the stand for the purpose of accepting people as they come in. And they can hand over people as they come in to the sales team. But the sales team, if you look at this, the sales team is out here. They are not necessarily within the stand. Yeah? The trade fair environment is sometimes acres wide. It's big. It's like hundreds of stands. I don't want my sales reps to be next to my stand. I want them to be everywhere else. I want them to be walking up to people in building A, building B, building C. I don't want, I'm gonna think like, what's his name? The Chinese guy, he's dead. General Sun Tzu. Yeah? I'm gonna be very strategic. I'm gonna say, you two sales reps, you go to building A, that's yours. Building B, that's yours. Building C, that's yours. Yeah? Bring the cards back as they come in. And the sales reps will be away from the stand. They'll come back eventually because everybody needs a little bit of motivation, right? So we'll go back there for a laugh and a coffee and a little bit of chit-chat to see how it's going. But then we'll go again. Then we'll travel. Yeah? And this is another element. So we have our ambassadors, we have our sales. We need these people, yeah? If you do not like doing this, don't do it. Yeah? If you do not get any type of pleasure out of doing this at all, just don't do it. You're miserable, you're depressed, don't do it. You'll make other people miserable and depressed too. Yeah? So if you're organizing this, you need to choose these people quite carefully. The couple that we've organized, we actually had a mix of salespeople, and we had some people who had nothing to do with the organization. They were just good-looking guys and girls. Yeah? We got a couple of sexy chicks and a couple of sexy guys from southern Italy, oil all over them. They looked great, and they were really successful. Because we showed them the reference stories. Yeah? They went up to people, they said, hello sir, can I ask you a couple of questions? Yes. Yes. You know, I represent this company and I'm not an expert, but if you're from marketing or finance or purchasing, then I've got a story for you. Well, yeah, no, I'm not from any of those, but I can pretend. Brilliant. We had just as much success with our young blood, good-looking agents as we had with our people who actually worked for the company itself. Because they got the business cards, and they said somebody will follow up. And when you've got a business card in front of you, and it's got a couple of notes on the back, you're going to follow up with that, and then it's in the pipeline, or it's not. So that was kind of interesting as well. So if you've got the money, that's worth thinking about. One of my favorite aspects was the following. On day one of the trade fair, we got 3 sales reps. Yeah? Here they are. 1, 2, 3. Yeah? And we said to these guys, your job is the following. You are spies. Your job is to go and check out the competition. And your job is to go and waste somebody's time. Yeah? Go to our main competitors and waste a bit of their time. So these guys were going to stand B over here and pretending to be customers. And they were saying, oh, you have these products and services. I'm a marketing executive from a very large organization, and we're very interested in this kind of thing. You know, the 3 most important people from this stand were going, oh, really? Oh, great. Guys, this sounds like a fantastic opportunity. Let's give them lots of attention. Yeah? And this, he was going over here, spending 45 minutes getting lots of great information from the competition. Yeah? Then he moved on to another stand. His friend went over here. That's terrible. You can't do that. It's not ethical. All's fair in love and war and sales. What was really nice was at the end of day one, the beginning of day two, these guys were walking all over the place and saying, "Hi!" And these guys were sick as dogs. That's not fair, they were saying. That's nasty, they were saying. That's unprofessional, they were saying. Yeah? And yes, it was all of those things. So if you're an ethical type of person, don't do what I have just suggested. But if you want to waste their time and make sure that the customers are coming to you instead of them, then it may be something that you can consider. It depends on the personalities of these guys and whether they're up for it or not. So, trade fairs need a bit of consideration and need a lot of organisation. You need a brain behind it. You need an organisation system. You need somebody to collect these cards, and you need lots of them. And 2 weeks after the trade fair happens, you need dedicated time and space where you are doing nothing else but following up. Nothing else. That 2 weeks of time is critical. It is mandatory for making sure you follow up on that trade fair well and get those opportunities into the pipeline so you can see if they move forward.